and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea on Confidence Rise. I'm your host, Tonia Tyler, and I'm excited about my guest today. She is an international best-selling author and speaker and a coach. She has had an amazing life and is full of adventure, but also survived and thrived numerous devastating events. She is a start-over expert, having peeled herself off the floor on several occasions. And as a young adult, she knew she had to change. She retrained her brain and turned her limiting beliefs into new positive ones and drilled them into her subconscious mind. Now she wants to help others do the same. She has been a jack of all trades and successful in many trades and businesses. We are here to talk about and celebrate her new book, Live for the Day. So without further ado, I would like to announce my special guest, Miss Annie Evans. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Tonia.
So it's an honor to have you here with us. Thank you.
It's an honor to be here.
So how are you dealing with the quarantine?
Well, I don't like not being able to go out and meet friends for, like we've met for lunch or dinner and just generally feel a little freer. But I work at home. I have a comfy home. My dog is keeping me company. And I'm just, one of the things I've trained myself is just to be productive whenever I can. So to me, it's a time out to do what I need to do.
Wow.
So.
Well, I know you've been on a whirlwind of things. So, I mean, we're going to dive a little bit into it. But basically, how did your writing journey begin? Could you share that with us?
Yes. So actually, I started writing poetry and also journaling when I was, really young, like not even in high school yet. And I did a lot of reading, but I've gone, as you mentioned, I've gone through several disasters. So I actually lost all my writing. Oof. And so for many years, even though I was writing for business and doing all of that, I really didn't write for myself for many years. And then I left corporate a few years ago, and I realized that I had survived and thrived these many things, and that I had actually done it by a process. And I had always wanted to write about all my adventures, and I hadn't really been telling 100% of my story because there was a lot of like not so great things in there. So I I met with somebody who just passed, but he told me his story, which was really, he had survived a lot also. And it triggered me because I usually didn't tell my story, to tell my story. And he said, Annie, you have to tell your story. And I go, no, Ryan, I don't do that. But I went home and I go, well, you've always wanted to write about your adventures and all the great things, but you haven't wanted to come out with all these other ugly truths. So I started writing then. And I actually started thinking that I was gonna speak it and have somebody do it for me. That didn't work out. So this is 100% me. I edited it. I even formatted it to the final copy. So yeah, it's been a process. I encourage everybody to tell their story. Everybody has a story.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like, what was, talking about your new book, and I know we'll talk a little bit more, you co-authored a couple of other things. What was the inspiration behind this book? What really said, this is time for me to put it out there?
Well, again, it was really this one meeting with Ryan Long. He was, the founder of City Summit and City Gala, and really wanting to do a great lot of good for the world. So he had, a nonprofit. And when he just told me that I really needed to tell my story to help people, I really took it to heart. So the book is about, it's Live for a New Day. And it takes several, it's really just a small portion of my history, but I was asked to, describe some of the starting over moments. And so there's several in the book. And then I really developed a process when I had to know, when I knew that I had to really change. I was a very angry person when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and I had a huge chip on my shoulder. And I really wanted to be somebody because I knew I was smart and I knew I had a lot of talent and work ethic, but I just had really bad, like, presence. And so I really reflected inside, and fortunately I found a way to really retrain my brain. And I'll give credit to David K. Reynolds, who is the author of many books now, but I started with his first book, which was The Art of Constructive Living. And actually I can't find it in print, but I saw it when it first came out, like in around 1980 or so.
Wow. So for those who are like looking to start writing, what would it say would be your advice for those who are looking to get started and maybe sharing their story?
First, and I wish I had done this much sooner, first is just to do it, just to write whatever comes to mind, and just try and keep it somewhat organized, and don't throw anything away, because you never know what one sentence or something might be in there that you'll want to use later. So really, it's just all about doing it. And for me, it came, once I started, it was just like, and, a lot of editing. And actually, I hope to actually improve upon this book. I have another book that's actually, very done, but I had somebody else edit it, and I'm going to have to re-edit it because I couldn't even recognize my voice. So, yeah, it's just, just write to yourself, just write for yourself. Don't think about, anybody else listening or critiquing you, or if you want to share something, that's good, but you don't want to buy into other people's negativity.
That's definitely a lot of things. So I know you're a startup coach. So how would you, or what kind of advice would you give people who are feeling like they're kind of stuck right now, like dealing with this pandemic?
Well, first of all, one of the main components of constructive living is learning how to set your feelings aside. And this is not exactly an answer to your question yet, but I know that a lot of people are rightfully feeling a lot of fear and the uncertainty and not being able to plan for their life or know where things are going. So being able to just consciously set that fear feeling, because you have to realize that the fight or flight, that's built into our DNA when we get fear, it's not going to do anything for you. But being able to set your feelings aside just for a few moments at a time allows you to think about something else, and hopefully use this time to do something like writing that you've never done.
That's an excellent advice. I know a lot of people use it like as a way of meditation. So
yes.
What's writing like a meditation for you? I mean,
well, suddenly when I started writing this book, I was kind of driven. Like it's like, I knew that people needed help, and not just for terrible things, but just learning how to believe in yourself, create a life and action plan that was going to really work for you, to where, things got better and better. And I still, even at this moment, I'm on that path, and I want to take as many people with me as I can. And I also believe that my practice, which is process, or whatever you want to call it, which is in the book, and it's going to be even more detailed in the next book, will really help people walk through any stage of life and be able to set hard parts aside and focus on the future. I'm not saying to not ignore it, because definitely this fear and fears that I've lived, they can be very real and bad things can happen. So I definitely advocate just building up our bounce back muscles and just be prepared and conscious and knowing that we can manage fear and other deep, hard, radically ugly feelings and still move forward.
Right. I know you said there's a process to starting back up. So what would be like the first key thing to maybe knowing that you need to make a change? What would be your first step?
Well, so I don't think that I was so conscious about it when I was doing it, other than that I did have the books and I knew that I was really consciously changing my brain and my limiting beliefs. I had a lot of limiting beliefs built into me. I think it's really important to look at every aspect of your life. And in my coaching practice, I really try and walk through and give people tools to really, maybe they think like, you know what, this is just my life. I married when I was 17. I have 4 kids. Yeah, we don't always, it's not exactly where I'd want to be. And I try and walk whatever the situation, to really look inside and what can you change. And the first thing is realize your own dreams and goals. Just write them down. They always change. But no matter what situation you are in, you should always have a dream and a goal that's out there. And then I try and work with people on the process of, setting up an action plan to reach that goal. And it can change. It can change many times, but
Right.
And some changes that people, really need to do are really harsh and difficult. So I get it. Been there.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk about, you have some pretty amazing things. I know, like, so we had history back in the day, and you inspired me to actually maybe put this podcast together, because like you said, this is a way to share my voice. So for those who don't know, you have several businesses and ventures. So tell me, how did you end up as the executive producer of the movie The Wish Man?
Well, so I left corporate, which was up and down in different places, but the last 20 years of it or so was with one company. I was fully committed, but suddenly that came to an end, and I wanted to really concentrate on me and my future. And so I got into personal development. And so one of my mentors is Greg Reed, and that's how I met Frank Shankowitz, the founder of Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I was just like so in love with the story and everything. And I had, I was able to get involved, and I'm very proud of it. Yeah, it turned out, because it was Greg's first movie and his partner who actually did a lot of the production, his first movie. And it turned out, they were actually up for an Academy. They could have been nominated for an Academy Award. It qualified. So it's really pretty rewarding. And Frank has just gone, now he's, at Disneyland, big sign. He's just gone off onto a whole new career. And so he's a good friend. Everything's, it's very rewarding to just have that happen, basically.
I would definitely say, if anybody has not checked out the movie, check it out. It's a really good movie.
But bring Kleenex, or you will laugh, but you will cry. Yeah.
Yes, it's a very good movie. So I know you mentioned a little bit about your mentor and stuff like that. So you co-author and you collaborate with others. How does that, if anybody wanted to collaborate with you, or how do you go about getting that connection, I guess you could say?
Well, I would like to, and hopefully with some of my, people that consult with me or are coached by me, maybe they will have stories, and I'll try and put them together in a book. But I think that was sort of what happened. You know, there's a lot of opportunities out there. People, you know, have a hard time doing books on their own. You know, they're costly and time consuming and everything. And so sharing the expenses and things like that, it's come up several times for me. So, and I take advantage because I can always put a little bit of my message into it. And then you never know what's going to happen with that book. Climb, it's great to reach the time. I can't exactly remember the subtitle, right. But you know, that book has had quite a bit of influence, and so that feels good. I've done several other chapters in books and have another couple chapters in another book coming out called Momentum, which has some pretty famous people. I feel pretty proud to be included. So it's interesting, but it's a way to get your writing out and to be able to get comments from people. And I think that for me, you know, I just want to improve. And really, it's not anything to do with, it is cathartic for me. I mean, it was very good to actually put some of these things on paper. Some of the people I talk about might not be so happy because I use full real names and everything, but it was rewarding to me. But mostly I did it because I really wanted to help people. And I know people need help with, you know, emotional and mental strife that we all suffer, but we want to be able to move through it and manage it. And that's what I'm all about.
Okay. Well, you mentioned one of the things that's near and dear to my heart, and that was personal development. So what would be your top 3 personal development books or things that you would recommend?
Well, actually, there's probably too many. I happened to be on another call right before this one, and this is Think and Grow Rich. Probably most people know of that. And Greg Reed is one of the Napoleon Hill people approved. You know, he's written many books, along with Sharon Lecter. Another one that I really recommend, and also the person himself as a mentor too, is Blue Fishing by Steve Sims. Also, I'm trying to remember the actual title of this book. It's a book I'm reading right now, and he's actually helping me with speaking, because I never wanted to be a speaker, and now I feel like I really need to be a speaker. And that's James Dentley, and the book is, it's 5, he goes through all, you know, different parts of your life, and, you know, the 5 top things of that portion of what you need to work on. And I just turned a few pages and I was like, oh, I love this book. There's so many. I mean, I didn't have a bookshelf for like 17 years. It was really a problem because I was moving around and, you know, cramped little space. Now I have a bookshelf that's huge, and it's about to tip over on too many books. And many of them I haven't read yet, so I'll keep you posted. Have me back.
Oh, definitely would love to welcome you back. We're down to our last 2 minutes, and I want to personally say thank you, Annie, for coming on. Where can we find information about your book and your services?
So I'm literally working on setting up my you know, calendar and all the things, but my book, and it will be also on this website, is www.liveforanew.day, which is the title of the book, and .com. And the book information is there. A couple interviews with me is there. And also my contact information is in the back of my book. I have another website, which is setyoursails.com, SAILS, because I sailed 44,000 sea miles, celestial navigator. And I'm a huge fan of Jim Rohn.
Oh yeah.
I got to see him many times. So
wow. So again, I want to say thank you, Annie, for your time. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your insight. I wish you continued success.
Thank you.
And I also want to remind those who are watching, if you like, I will have all of Annie's contact links in the comments. And if you would like, give us our feedback on the show. How can we all both improve on things that we do? And also would like to invite you, if you have a show idea or maybe you as a guest would like to come on, we are welcome. We're looking for guests as well. You can find our shows and our videos on the Confidence Strides Facebook page. We are on the Anchor podcast, and we are proud to announce that we just launched on YouTube. So that is growing. And also, you can email me at sweetandsocial@gmail.com. Again, I will put all the links in the comments. And I want to say thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until then, have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you.